Uncharted is the newest video game movie. It's based on the popular video game franchise of the same name from Naughty Dog Studios, and video game developers Amy Hennig, I think Bruce Struckley, the director was one of the directors on the fourth one. I know the other director on that one is Neil Druckmann, who gamers will know for directing the Last of Us games. Fantastic games, even the second one. I don't care what you say about Abby. The film stars Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, and Antonio Banderas. Also Sophia Ali, I believe is her name. Either way, yeah. Uncharted is an origin story for Nathan Drake. We see how he meets Chloe and Sully, and they go on this globe-trotting treasure hunt for $5 billion worth of treasure, and they're being chased by Antonio Banderas and these mercs that he hired. And I have to say that this movie was in development hell for so long. At one point, Mark Wahlberg was actually signed on to play Nathan, but the development just went on for so long that, unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to do it. And now that I think about it, I kind of wonder how that would have actually worked. If it would have worked. Could have worked better than Max Payne, even. I'll admit I never saw that movie. Here, this movie mostly works. It mostly worked for me. It's not worked for everybody, but I'm a fan of the games. I love going on Nathan's adventures, because to me, I'm also a fan of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. I enjoy going on these treasure hunting adventures, and so Uncharted really should be something that's right up my alley, and it actually mostly pleased me. I was actually like, okay, this isn't bad. Tom Holland is really good, and I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I do. I love him just as much as I love Andrew Garfield and Tobey as Spider-Man. And also, Mark Wahlberg is a really good actor. Antonio Banderas, he's a really good actor. And they are, for the most part, good in this movie, even though if you're hoping you may be disappointed with how much Antonio Banderas is in this movie, because he could have been used more, maybe. I would have been okay with them using him more. But either way, the amount of the film that he's in he actually does good with what he's given. And I can see why people, one reason why people may not enjoy this movie. Not all the critics really enjoyed it. It's been like close to a 50-50 split at best with whether or not critics are enjoying it. That's usual for a video game movie. Video games are still relatively young media. They're still trying to figure out how they could actually take the story of a game and make it into a really good 2-hour movie at the longest. And I felt they were mostly able to do that with Uncharted, but this movie does take a little bit of time to get going. But once it gets going, it gets really entertaining, especially the sequence with the pirate ships. I was like, they're lifting pirate ships out. They're lifting pirate ships off this island with helicopters. That's what it was like when I saw that in the trailers, and I was like, okay. But when I saw the movie, I was like, that's actually kind of fun to watch. It is kind of fun. I had fun watching that action sequence. Actually, the action sequences, they are pretty fun to watch. They're actually well done, very, very well shot. If you ask me, yeah. You see stuff like the action and then the reaction, like all in the same shot. It's visually a good-looking movie. It is. But the biggest problem is the fact that it just takes a while to get going. Yeah, I think there are parts of the narrative that I do like because they take a bit of a narrative structure from the video game series. For example, this movie, we all saw that there was going to be a plane sequence, an adaptation of the plane sequence from Uncharted 3 in this movie. We saw it in the trailers. And the movie immediately, it starts with that sequence, and then it cuts to a flashback. When the movie starts, we see Nathan dangling from the cart. He's dangling off the plane, he's wakes up and he's like, oh crap, I am not on a plane, I'm stuck to this crate like a mile above the ocean. I gotta get back in the plane. We see him trying to get back in the plane, then it cuts to everything that we need to know that happens prior to the plane sequence, and then later on we see the plane sequence in full. Does that ring any bells? Uncharted 2, which opened with the Nate dangling precariously over an edge in the ruins of a train, and then later on we see the full train sequence. like all the video game stuff in this movie is actually kind of fun. I was like, oh cool, that's the Naughty Dog logo. And there was one cameo in the movie where I was like, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. You'll know it when you see it. And overall, I mostly enjoyed this movie. I mostly did. Yes, it does take a while to get going, but when it does get going, it's actually fun to watch. I'm gonna give Uncharted a B plus. So, yeah, B plus. So, what are your thoughts on Uncharted? Take a moment and leave a comment.